Air France, France's carrier, loses 65 million euros after being chased from Sahel. Shocking. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are very much appreciated. I feel good today, It's a beautiful day, not so hot. Let me brush my beard. Yeah, I know. I look good. Yeah, so thank you for stopping by. We don't know each other. My name is Zack. But if you watch this video till the end, we're going to love each other. No doubt about it. Here we talk about most of the things. We talk about Africa. We talk about the diaspora. We talk about issues that we have on our ground. If you from Jamaica, from America, from all over the world, you want to know about what's happening in Africa for real, you are at the right place. So click on the button. I think it's called subscribe. We talk about most of the things, society, South Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, things on the ground, everyday things for the black people. The white people are welcome too. As long as you love us, we love you too. Anyway, let's get back on track. We are in France. Here is France. I know many of you think you know where France is. This is where France is. Many they're not very good at geography. Anyway. So, Air France loses 65 million euros after being chased from Sahel. This is Sahel. These are the countries of Sahel. You can see the map. This is France. Now, how do they lose 65 million? They lost 65 million euros after they stopped doing business with the Sahel countries. So, a few years ago, France said, okay, we're not going to deal with you anymore. We're not going to fly our airplane to your countries anymore. I'm going to give you context to that. Air France has lost 65 million after its business in the Sahel was disrupted by the ban by cool countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. You remember these countries? I'm sure you do remember by now. Now, the ban forced the French carrier to direct its routes to Central Africa with announcement of a partnership with a Gabonese airline. Let me explain to you. So, Air France used to fly into these countries. Why? Because these countries are French-speaking African countries. Why are they French-speaking African countries? Because these countries are part of the countries that were colonized by the French. And because of that, they have what they call a special relationship. It's like a father and a son. Yeah, father and a son, when the father actually takes everything from the son, kind of relationship they had. And France used to fly its carrier to these countries very much often. How often? Air France was, in fact, the main airline between Europe and Africa. You believe that? Yeah, it suspended its flight to Bamako. Here's Bamako on the map. There used to be 7 flights per week. Okay, here's Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. There used to be 5 flights per week. And here's Niamey, 4 flights per week. On August 7, 2023, after the closure of Niger airspace, the scene of the coup d'etat in July 26, the following month, France classified the capitals of these countries as a red zone destination that it advised its national against it. Did you hear that? So France actually qualified these countries as a red zone and asked its people, its French national, not to go to these countries. Let me get back on track. Now, what happened? These 3 countries were tired of being ruled by France. How were they ruled by France? After independence in 1960, the French said, well, let's go back to France. Let's give Africans an opportunity to rule themselves. The truth was that the French never really left. Okay, so they physically left, but in reality, economically, they were still in these countries ruling and, controlling. The bottom line is, right even now, the currency used in these countries, French-speaking countries, you can see them, is printed in France. Yes! A currency that's supposed to be a sovereign property of a country is printed in France. So printed in France and sent to you. That's a technique they use to control these countries. Now, these 3 countries have something in common. What is it? The 3 countries toppled their president. Why did they topple the president? They toppled the 3 presidents because the 3 presidents were puppet. Puppet of who? Puppet of France and Europe. Why? They used to give France and many other European countries access to their minerals for a very cheap price or for a very, specialized contract. You know what I'm saying? But in the meantime, the people of those countries were going through the most. Let me explain to you, give you context. In Niger, for instance, Niger produces uranium. Uranium is what you can see here. Uranium is very important for development and for technology. Uranium is also what you need to create the atomic bomb. You see this atomic bomb? This is Japan. The uranium used here for the atomic bomb in Japan was taken from the Congo in DRC in Shikolobwe. But up until now, that uranium has done absolutely nothing for the Congolese people. Same for Nigerian. In Niger, they take the uranium to produce electricity for France. France makes so much electricity with the uranium they buy from Niger that they sell electricity to other countries. You hear that? They get so much electricity by creating from the uranium both at a cheap price from Niger that they sell electricity to other European countries. Now, this is the contract between France and Niger back in time. France used to buy 1 kilogram of uranium from Niger at $0.80 a kilo. And they will pay for the same kind of uranium at 200 euros from the Canadians. So 0.80 for the African and $200 from the Canadian. Now you can tell how they think about you, right? Now, when these three leaders from these three countries came, they toppled the president because those presidents were not working for the people. Let me give you another example about Niger. In Niger, they had so much uranium that France had an exclusivity access to it. They produced so much electricity for themselves, they sell to Europe. In the meantime, people of Niger did not even have electricity for themselves. Sometimes they had to buy electricity from Nigeria. This is Niger, and this is Nigeria. I know some people are confused. Two different countries. This is Niger, this is Nigeria. Yes, you can see the border. They are the same people, but they were divided by colonialism. Now, in Nigeria, they sell electricity to Niger. And I know if you're Nigerian here, you're probably asking yourself, how come they're selling electricity? Because we ourselves don't have enough electricity. Yes, they have electricity for sale. They just don't have electricity for you. Okay? Let's get back on track. Now, when these three countries got a brand new government, this brand new government kicked out French representatives in their countries. France used to have soldiers, the military presence in those countries. Their goal was to fight terrorism because they proposed, let us come to your country and fight terrorism for you. And these countries say, okay, you can help us fight terrorism. Now, they had been there for decades, but nothing had happened. I mean, just imagine you have somebody coming to your house to help you chase a rat for 10 years and nothing, not even 10 years, for 2 days. Now you're going to ask for somebody else to come, right? Let me give you another example. You're sick, okay? Your head is sore. You go to the doctor and he recommends you something. You take it for 2 days. Your head is still pounding. What do? You go back to the same doctor? No, you don't. You go find another doctor because, yeah, I mean, dude, something is not right here, okay? That's exactly what these three countries did. They turned their face to Russia. Now, the Russians have more access to them than the French, and France is furious about that. So one of the reasons why Emmanuel Macron was up in arms, ready to go fight Vladimir Putin.
There is no consensus right now about sending in ground troops in an official, endorsed and sanctioned manner. But in reality, nothing should be ruled out. We will do whatever it takes to ensure that Russia cannot win this war.
Nous ferons tout ce qu'il faut pour que la Russie ne puisse pas gagner cette guerre.
It's because France is clearly losing its influence in African countries and Russia is taking over. Now, let's get back to context. We're talking about Air France. When French were being kicked out of these three countries, what did they do? They said, okay, so from now on, we're going to restrict the visas from you people. Talking about Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. Your people will not come here easily anymore. The visa things are going to be very complicated. That's what they applied. And after that, they said, okay, oh, matter of fact, you know what? The visa thing, yeah, we're actually not going to fly to your countries anymore because your countries are red zone. We don't want to do this anymore. It's dangerous for our people. So the goal was, let me put pressure on these Africans. They're going to shake and say, oh, no. Let's cooperate. But the Africans say, not today. So France cut the ties. France stopped sending its airplanes to African countries. Now France wants to return to these countries. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you Africans, we're done with you. You think you know the game. Okay, we don't want to fly our flights over you, and we're not giving you visas. These people stood ground. They did not go begging and negotiate. Few years later, what happening? The French are coming back looking for ways. You know, it's like somebody wants you back, but they don't come straight. They're coming, you know, nyoga. They're coming snake. That's exactly what's happening. Now, they say they've lost 65 million euros since that stopped. But I want us to think about this because it makes no sense. The reason why they lost money is because there used to be a lot of tourists going to France. There used to be tourist visas There was previously a tourist flow which no longer exists because the visa issued to Malians to go to France remains very restrictive. Apart from exemption from people in mission and, students, they make it very difficult for Malians. And in return, Mali applied reciprocity. Even Franco-Malians now are forced to have a visa on their French passports before coming to Mali. So if you're French and Malian, you need a Malian visa to come. Back in time, they just needed a national ID. They could come in. But from now, if you're Franco-Malian, you need a visa to come to Mali. Fellas, I have a problem with this. They said they've lost 65 million euros in that time. I just want to understand, and I want you to come to the party because this makes no sense. Let me give you an example. When these people came into power, they say they used to give Ouagadougou about 530 million euros a year. So development aid from France to Ouagadougou was estimated at 530 million euros. So we together, they used to give 530 million euros to Burkina Faso. Why are they crying for $65 million? It doesn't make sense. If you gave 530 in aid, why are you crying now that you've lost 65 million? It doesn't make sense. Apparently, they used to contribute to 470 million euros gifted to the Malians. They gave to the Malians. Why are they complaining about 65 million? If you gave 470 million, it makes no sense. Apparently, the EU with France allocated 503 million euros of its budget to improve governance and education and sustainable growth in Niger between 2021 and 2024. How are they complaining about 65 million? It makes no sense. Let's put the numbers here. 530 million euros to Burkina Faso. 470 million euros to Mali. 503 million euros to Niger. And they're complaining about 65 million euros lost by Air France? No, it makes no sense. If you have money and you can provide money, why are you crying for the small money? It makes no sense. Unless you were making more money than the 500 and the 300 you used to give me. And that is not reported. Let's just use our brain here. Why are you complaining about 65 million if you used to give me 500 million? There must be something you used to do where it was not registered that nobody could see. Just remember here, France's company used to exploit minerals in some of these countries. Gold in Burkina Faso, gold in Mali and many other things, as well as uranium, beside everything else. But they're giving you aid. You think they're helping you with aid? But maybe they are winning by taking what you don't quite quantify. Am I talking rubbish? I don't know. I mean, does it make sense to you that somebody will be complaining, oh, I've lost 65 million from not coming to your country, but I used to give you 500 million? No, makes no sense. Now they're trying to find a way to discuss and find something that makes sense. I think whether they accept or not, I firmly believe business should be win-win, It doesn't matter. You don't have to love the person you're doing business with, provided that we are winning and there is respect. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. God bless.